Title of this, for those of you listening, is Man in Polyamorous Relationship with Wife, Other Man Charged with Assaulting the Other Man. This is a recent story from about a week or so ago in September. This is in Washington. A man in a polyamorous relationship is charged with assault and unlawful possession of a firearm. This is what often happens. Where is the story? He said there had been tension. So here it is. He said the three of them decided to go to bed. As they were laying in bed, so this is a woman and two men, Baston got up and said he wasn't doing this anymore, then left the room. The wife says she followed him out of the living room, which is when he pointed a gun at her head and said that when the men came into the living room and stepped between her and Baston, when the man, so this is the extra dude. She says Baston told the man, take one more step and I'll kill you. The man said he was able to convince Baston to put the gun down after pleading for reasoning. Anyway, so this guy's in custody now. There's criminal charges. This is just one story of a few that I'm going to show you. So it's not all rainbows and butterflies. Okay, it's pretty stupid. Here's another one. Now I've covered this story a couple years ago. There's an original version of this where they just start talking about this woman and her four dudes. Again, never alpha males. They look, fat boy over here with the Star Wars T-shirt. She's holding this guy's hand. He doesn't look very pleased here with his hands crossed in his lap. This is the five couple poly. It's almost always one chick and a bunch of nerds, and they're taking care of the house, paying the bills, paying the mortgage, sharing a little bit of time with her. Maybe they play video games together when she's out, banging the alpha males on the weekend, because that's usually what ends up happening. They end up taking care of the house and the kids while she goes off and porks some alpha male, which I don't know that she'd get one or not. But this is a situation. This is where we're at. Okay. Yeah, Moff makes a good point. She's 20 in this story, but she looks 40. Now, this is this follow-up story. Okay, this is a follow-up story where they talk about her being pregnant. I'm not going to go through all of this. You can look it up. This is her and the biological father of the baby. This is her holding her stomach, although it's difficult to tell that she's pregnant in that photograph. This is the geeks playing cards at the table, I guess on card night. So you get an idea. Now, they don't continue following this story, but I want you to look at this guy's face over here. Let's see if I can zoom it in a little bit. No, it won't do it. Anyway, let's go to this. I want you to look at this guy's face over here. This dude over here is the same guy in this picture over here. What's the title say? Again, this story here is about a polyamorous Florida woman with 4 boyfriends is pregnant. Follow-up story. Actually, what's the date on this? December 6, 2019. Follow-up story. Jacksonville man jailed in abuse of 5-week-old baby in 2020, March 2020. This is the same dude over here. This geek over here. Okay. They don't talk much about it. Let's see if they cover the poly part of the story. The girl's grandmother caught him doing this. Distraught. Oh, the horror. Investigation. Broken ribs. Child protection. Child had a minimum of 3 attacks. Baby's mother called Florida Department of Children Families. But nothing mentioning the complexity of the poly relationship in this article. Just green-haired dude beats the crap out of the kid that's not his. Again, this is him over here. So that's a couple of examples of how these things generally unfold. Now I'm going to throw my earbuds in because there's a video that I'm going to play for you of this 4-way couple. There's no kids involved in this one yet, but they're talking about it, and I'm going to offer some feedback on what I think's going on, because this is just insanity. Share your wife and your finances with your wife's boyfriend. What do we got here in the chat? Rich, why do you guys tolerate this absurd behavior? I wouldn't. I would never. only people with low options to tolerate this sort of behavior. Sajad says pure cuckoldry. All right, so let's throw up this next one in the stream here and get some audio going. Share screen tab. How a poly foursome. So the title of this is from CNBC, and it says how a poly foursome manages their money. So let's see what we got here. Let's go this. So I've paused it over here at the 20-second mark. We've got Kyle, who's married to Rachel, and we've got Ashley, who's married to Yair. Kyle is a mixologist, If I'm not mistaken, I think that's a fancy word for bartender. Rachel is a marriage and family therapist, and Ashley is a culinary director. I don't know what that means. And Yair is a private chef. Now, these two over here own the house. These two moved into their house, and all four of these people share finances in the house and each other. I think, with the exception of the men. I think she plays with everybody, and the dudes don't with each other. But anyway, so let's play this and see what we got here from the top.
Our nighttime patties, I guess you could say.
Like my sleeping pills.
I have my eye mask, my evening lip mask.
Sometimes I put snacks in.
Yeah, sometimes there are snacks. Sometimes
totally normal, right? Let's go through our bags and talk about what's in them with our snacks and blah blah blah. Of course, that's how they're going to kick off the story, because they want you to think that this should be normalized in society.
There are sex toys.
This is Kyle, Rachel, Ashley, and Yair. Kyle's married to Rachel and Ashley to Yair. Two married couples in a non-monogamous relationship. A family of 4.
Our sleep schedule is interesting. We go typically on a rotation.
So you're going to notice in this video that this Rachel one, now there's always a leader in every group, every tribe. There's always somebody that's more of the leader role, the alpha role. You're going to notice that she does all the talking. She's the one that collects the money from all the people, and a few of them sort of chime in from time to time. So this would be I suppose, a ringleader that orchestrated, most of this.
Meaning, like, if it's from my point of view, let's say tonight's with Kyle, then the next night is with Ashley, and then the next night's with Yair, and then next night's with Kyle, and next night's with Ashley, and next night's with Yair, and like kind of rotate that way.
And the title of this is How to Manage Finances in a Non-Traditional Relationship. All right, educate us, CNBC. Let's see what you got.
We met at the very, very, very beginning of COVID. We were all members of a sex-positive organization in New York City. There was a...
Shocking, it's New York City.
A pull in me to message Yair. It was very clear that we had a lot in common and hit it off. And within 48 hours...
Hang on a sec. This guy's a chef and he's making like yellow mustard sandwiches. I don't know about that story. Anyway.
Hours, I was talking with Ashley, who messaged me. I thought she was absolutely gorgeous and then was so excited. After talking with Ashley for a day, I realized that she and Kyle were like 2 peas in a pod. So I asked these two if I could bring Kyle into the group chat. We started a group chat of 4 people. And literally from that day, we have not stopped talking. And now we live together and share a home.
It is illegal in all 50 states.
All right, let's keep going. I have a feeling we haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg yet.
To be married to more than one person. But according to a study published in 2021, 1 out of 5 people in the US has engaged in a consensually non-monogamous relationship at some point during their life.
Non-monogamy is just having either more than one partner or being open to having more than one partner. You don't have to be practicing it to be it. We share finances, we share a home, we share a dog and a cat and all of this.
And partners.
And partners.
Yeah. A lot of things we'll share.
Like that jacket.
This jacket.
No,
this one.
This one is you.
Yeah.
It's fun to be able to put on something that like I would never buy for myself or frankly even pick up off the rack.
And she's like, that won't look good on me. I'm like, try it on.
Yeah.
Did they say how old they were? I don't know what, like, yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. I mean, she's the one doing all the talking so far.
And there are some things where I'm like, no, this is an Ashley only garment.
All 4 of their incomes go into an account, and those are the funds
go.
they use to pay for everything together.
I think that if we took a look at it, there would be more clothing than perhaps we are front of mind aware of.
So that's this dude's way of saying, you ladies are spending way too much of our money on clothing. So you're sharing your wife and you're sharing your finances and you're buying clothes for somebody that's not your wife in a house that you may or may not own. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to unfold, but let's keep going. I mean, this has got to end really well. Let me just check the comments real quick. Yeah, this dude's like, this is definitely not going to end horribly. I would love to see a follow-up story in 1 to 3 years from now. Yeah, this is like, I've seen this movie before. This is a train wreck unfolding in slow motion. This is the title of this video should be How to Make a Train Wreck Out of 4 People's Lives.
Talk about what our core expenses are, what the bills look like, what the mortgage looks like.
The interesting thing about this dude, Yair, Mr. Tattoo here, is he's got what's called hunter eyes. And hunter eyes are, you guys can Google this, but they're conventionally desired I'm not sure if it's the balance or the distance, between the eyes, but it's the depth in the brow, and that's what determines that sort of look. And that's generally strongly desired by women. It's something that they look for. That's what Evo Psych has concluded anyway.
Keep an eye month to month on what our numbers look like.
And goals a little bit. We've
We talk about longer term. We want to do this next year. What's that going to look like?
Will you give me that?
Right. Why don't you hold this?
So Mr. Tattoo Arms here, the chef, now hands over his money to, I'm guessing, Rachel? Yep.
And I'll
So she takes his money. Oh my God.
write the check for her too, so she can have a cash tip.
Great.
Okay.
And if you want to give me the check, I also have a credit card if that works.
We really try to let everybody
This dude over here has said nothing. He's just sitting here smiling like a Muppet. Poopy dope.
live organically and do what they want, and then we come back and take a look and go, okay, so last month I think we probably overdid it on the restaurants. Why don't we this month, trim that back and save up for a birthday coming up in X weeks or whatever.
And as for the larger expenses, Yair and Ashley own the house they all live in, but the mortgage payment is split among.
Right. So Yair and Ashley own the house that they all live in, but the mortgage payment is split amongst all of them. That's not possibly going to end badly in any way, shape, or form, right? I mean, I don't know what state law is like in New York, but I know for a fact that in most places in the developed world, if you're making installment payments on somebody else's mortgage and you live in their house, then you have rights to that asset if it doesn't work out. Now, do they have a cohabitation agreement or a prenup? I don't know. Let's find out.
All four.
One of the things that I was very adamant about was that my student loan debt did not come and impact them. So that is something that will not be on them at all and will remain just in my name.
Well, that's very noble of you, Rachel. Good for you, except for you're taking all of their money.
That's not nearly the only difference navigating finances with four partners.
Credit card companies do not make it easy for four primary account holders, which doesn't make a gigantic difference, but it means that it.
So he's complaining that credit card companies don't make it easy for the four of them to run one credit card. There's a reason for that. Okay. I come from the credit card business. They want you on the hook for the credit that's issued. Now, legal agreements are generally written for an individual or for a couple. They don't have contingency in credit facilities or instruments for 4 people, 10 people, or anything like that. Like even in my business, like I have a primary card and I have a secondary card that I use with my brother. There's always a primary card holder and secondary. They don't have contingency for primary, secondary, tertiary, and keep going from there. Like who knows if they want to introduce another couple or another chick or another dude in this situation. It just seems bizarre, like why do you need 4 people in a household? You're banging each other and you're mixing your finances into a giant pot. 2 of them own the house legally, the other 2 don't, but they're paying into it, which would technically give them the rights to the property if it doesn't work out. This is just a massive recipe for a huge disaster. It's just stupid.
It isn't that only one person is getting the full benefit of that line of credit and getting the full benefit of that credit history. So if the 4 of us did want to be on a mortgage in X number of years, we wouldn't all be getting the same benefit from carrying those lines of credit.
It's part of when people talk about feeling discriminated against as...
Here we go. Here comes the victim mindset. I knew it was going to come.
Whether it's sexual orientation, within the LGBTQ community or in the non-monogamous community, that's part of what they're talking about, is that our entire system is set up for 2 people.
I mean, our system is
there's
designed
a
for
reason
monogamy,
for that.
and there's really no space for other relationship designs.
Oh, the bartender had something to say. What did he say?
Monogamy, and there's really no space for other relationship designs.
That's why the 2 couples, Rachel and Kyle and Ashley and Yair, have decided to get divorced from one another. So they'll have more rights and benefits as a family of 4. They're working with a lawyer to create a cohabitation agreement.
So they took vows till death do us part, in sickness and health, blah, blah, blah. And then because Rachel sucks them all into this vortex of fuckery and moves into their house, now they all are getting divorced so they can live as a foursome.
So Kyle and I remain married, and Ashley and Yair remained married. If something were to happen to one of them, and one of us wanted to go see them in the hospital, we would have no legal right to do so.
In a scenario where, say, Rachel and I...
Now, keep in mind, they said at the get-go that they all met each other at the start of the pandemic, which was 2 years ago. So they've barely known each other for 2 years. They're already living together in this other couple's house. They're all getting divorced, and they're now creating a new agreement to govern their finances and even things like who could see who if somebody got deathly ill. They haven't even talked about kids yet. Let's see if we get to that.
I have a child, and nobody's legally married. If Rachel and I have a child, the protections afforded to Ashley and Kyle as parents of that child are difficult to get to. If we start from this place and move into these domestic partnerships, it makes it much easier for the non-biological parents to act as legal guardians and legal parents for those children.
Beyond rights, they say this cohabitation agreement would legally define financial responsibility among all 4 partners.
It's really important to both me and Ashley to have a biological child if we can. If we can't, we have talked about carrying the person's.
You notice how this conversation is, you notice how they're sitting and what the focus is? It's like Rachel is the son, she's the sister son, and then the 2 dudes are accessories. It's really important to me and Ashley to have kids. Well, what about the other guys? Is it not important to them to have kids? Or are they just accessories to go to work and make money to pay for this whole fuckery thing that you guys are creating right now that's going to definitely implode on itself?
Egg that is viable, and all of us will be financially responsible for the.
Why wouldn't you be able to have kids if you're young and healthy? You know, you're talking about eggs and IVF and all this sort of stuff. This just reeks, man.
Children, and there will be language that explains what happens if something were to go wrong and one person leaves.
And no matter how biological children are created between the 4 of us, pretty sure they're going to have red hair. It's in all of our families.
Never mind who the father is. It's, they're probably going to have red hair because it's in all of our families. So it doesn't matter if we just blend all of our genes like this because we have nothing going for ourselves.
These rights outweigh any financial advantages
This is where we
of being
are.
married. Tax benefits for one.
Frankly, the goal is our lawyer is on the front lines of creating domestic partnerships with more than 2 people. They were the first person to pass through a domestic partnership of 3 people in a town in Massachusetts. Their goal is eventually having all 4 of us in a legal domestic partnership. In the meantime, we will have this cohabitation agreement with potentially a rearrangement for these benefits like insurance and things like that.
Yeah, there's no possible chance that somebody's going to lose their shit and pull a gun or hurt somebody else's baby like we saw in prior examples. This is definitely going to work out really well for everybody with all 4. To deal with one relationship with one chick comes with enough challenges on its own, let alone 2 chicks and an extra guy in the equation, and you're blending all your finances. This is just going to implode.
The plan is for the agreement to cover a lot more too.
Yeah, no more than $30 a month on video games. If that's going to be in there.
That's on you.
It's not going to direct our budget. You know, it isn't going to be a.
You got to love the pie graph over here, right? I wonder. Can we see? No, you can't. You can't see it. I was wondering who's all contributing to what and what they're spending money on, but you can't really see it.
Day-to-day finance document. Unfortunately, so much as more of a doomsday scenario document and a supportive document for things like adoptions, for things like. Frankly, for things like even dog care, I forgot about that one. Like they forced us to only put one name down on a dog that the 4 of us got together. Like there's sort of a lot of different places actually where it comes up. So we're hoping that those legal agreements will help.
This is all costing them more than $10,000 in legal fees.
So in that way, you know, we are investing in ourselves to make sure that legally we're all set up as best as possible.
That's really not that much money for an agreement like this, but okay.
It's important.
And while they might not want to be legally married anymore, to lift some of the obstacles they've been facing.
How many shots do we need to give of this dude giving this chick money? He's giving his money to this dude's wife while they all pour it in, and look at these pie graphs over here, or these, basically a pie graph.
They're showing their love and commitment to one another in other ways.
Rachel planned a very traditional proposal situation with like a secret photographer, like a weekend away. It was really, really adorable.
Though the rest of us in our different dyads are talking about different symbols and ways to use symbols, be that jewelry, tattoos, whatever the case is, of solidifying those commitments with some kind of meaningful symbol.
Although I wouldn't mind if he got down on one knee, you know. Wow, nope.
Get down on one knee and propose to this. Oh.
Pressure.
No pressure.
There are so many assumptions and misconceptions about what our life looks like. One of the ways to combat shame is to show people that they're not alone and that it is okay to be yourself. So I talk about my depression. I talk about being queer. I talk about...
Oh, there it is. She's a marriage therapist and she talks about her depression. Shocking. There it is.
Going to sex parties. I share so that people don't feel alone, and I share to destigmatize. And frankly, it also helps me.
Yeah, it definitely helps you, that's for sure. Hey guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that short clip. If you did, consider supporting the creation of content by checking out my supplement line. Pinned in the top comment below of this video in the comments, there's a link to the unpluggedalpha.com/shop. When you click through, you'll be able to land over here, and the entire lineup is broken down by category that it performs best in: estrogen metabolism, fat burning, your foundational essentials for health, immune health, performance, and testosterone support. If you check out with coupon code ALPHA10, you'll get 10% off on your first order. There's also the option to use the subscribe and save model, where regular shipments will be sent over to you on a regular basis, and that gives you a little bit of a discount, and your supplement facts are always broken down over here. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have an awesome day. And again, check out that link. It's pinned in the top comment below in this video. Peace out.